You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Darryl Kinsey Jr. welcoming you to a lap of extra mile for today, September 26, 2024. The round of 12 is about to begin in NASCAR, and there's no cursing in Formula One. To help me talk about all of that, of course, my co-host, Christopher Lehman. Chris?
How are you doing this evening, Darryl?
I'm doing great, and whether you're watching us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram Live, or watching on the re-air, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to pay some bills on the other side of this break. We'll get started with the show, so sit tight. We'll be right back.
For the last 10 years, iSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at iSports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iSportsRadio.com. At iSportsRadio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, iEsports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at SealTheDeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
And we're back here on Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Darryl and Chris here with you this evening. We're going to go ahead and get started and try to figure out first when it comes to NASCAR. What happened with this Bristol tire? For those of you that have been watching the NASCAR the entire season, when the tire ran during the winter or the fall, excuse me, the tire wear was so bad it got to Indianapolis '08 levels of bad for NASCAR, which a lot of people like that race for that reason. I'm just going to have to be on the wrong side of history. I thought that race was a farce. Other people in the industry seem to disagree. Whatever. They bring the tire, Chris, to Saturday's race. It's 20 degrees higher. As far as temperature, it was about 72 degrees when that race got started, and there was no tire wear at all. Why can we not figure out a middle ground tire at Bristol?
I personally liked the spring race. I thought that the tire strategy and the fact that it played such a big role was actually made NASCAR exciting for a change. In terms of just the strategic, we got rid of the no stage breaks in road courses, which was stupid. So really, NASCAR has effectively gotten rid of strategy. There's really no strategy plays anymore. And so I thought that the spring race tire did a good job of creating a strategy race.
Yeah, but it wasn't a strategy race of if you can save the tire. Nobody could save that tire. Like 50 laps and it was dead, to the point where guys were out there putting like the MBM car was on Saturday night when it came to minimum speed. Like they were below that pace. And we'll get to that in a minute. But there's a middle ground between the tire can't stay together and the tire is a week-old Krispy Kreme donut. And we can't find that minimum, or we can't find that happy medium for some reason.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like it definitely, I could see why people didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that NASCAR needs to figure out the tire situation, and kind of go the IndyCar or the Formula One route where you have, either 2 or 3 different choices on what to run, with different benefits to either. It'd be nice if they would do that, because I think when the one time they did it, there really didn't end up being very much discrepancy between the two on how far they would last. I think they were pretty similar. So
when we used the options at Richmond, it went rather well, which then I wondered, why didn't we bring the option tire to Bristol?
It would have been nice.
Like, it would have helped. I mean, we saw what it did for Suarez at the Bristol race. I mean, at the Richmond race during this summer. He went from running, he was in like 25th, 20th. No, he was all the way at the back at the restart and 15 laps in on the option tire, everybody else on primes. He was leading the race and ended up using that tire. This goes back to the strategy thing you were talking about, to go top 3, to stay basically in the top 5, top 10 all race long after that. So we had a good thing. We have a plan, and then we don't execute it for the playoff race you're going to need it at?
Beats me.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
And I get it. It's a playoff race. You don't want to throw in another variable. You know how hit or miss these races at Bristol can be now. You figured out something. You made a good decision, finally, on something, and then you don't follow through and to start bringing it to other places. Maybe they need to start testing an option tire, period, for Cup next year at all tracks. Because, like you said, we need something to shake up the strategy, because right now there is none.
Yeah, no, and it goes back even to the stage breaks at the road course thing. You had something that made it interesting, and then you got rid of it the first chance you could. Um, I don't understand the rationale of what's happening at NASCAR with the decision makers. It's beyond me.
Well, speaking of decision makers, they just decided that they're going to join up with Ticketmaster for their tickets. So now, yeah.
The website with a 10% approval rating.
Also being sued by the feds, by the way, for being a monopoly.
Oh, and also had a big data leak, and your personal information got stolen. Yeah, because I got those letters. So did everybody that I work with. It was ridiculous. So that was stupid too. I saw that. I actually just like chuckled when I saw that news break.
Yeah, it's well. Look, we can beat that dead horse as long as we want, but we got an hour. We only got an hour, so we should probably continue. We really need to think about. My hope is that Goodyear can find a happy medium. I know making race car tires is hard. We went through this with Pirelli, where they went from making the tires way too soft to now they're way too hard, but they're comfortable with that. So we're stuck with it in Formula One, where all the races are one stop and it's horrible. We got to get pit strategy back in the rotation for every series that's not endurance racing. Because like sprint racing, as I'll call it, right now, strategy is almost out the window.
Yeah.
So let's get into what actually happened at the Bristol Bass Pro Shops night race. Two big stories from either end of the grid. Larson absolutely dominated that race, leading 465 laps, while Suarez barely makes it into the round of 12 after the horrible race he had. Chris, what do you think is the bigger story? Larson's domination or just how bad Suarez was?
I would say Suarez actually is probably the more interesting one, just because he was 2 laps down and did not really have any potential. And Ty Gibbs was definitely, catching up. They were, I think the closest they got was 2 points, maybe 3. I don't remember exactly, but then you just kind of slowly started seeing that gap widen and widen and widen. And so I think the fact that Suarez got through is definitely more interesting than Larson just dominating, and it was absolutely a domination race by Larson. Hats off to him. I thought the race personally was terrible, though. I actively regret watching that race.
Definitely wasn't the most exciting. I struggle to say terrible because there have been worse. I mean, the Xfinity race in Watkins Glen, which was absolutely a crash fest, definitely is up there. But I also agree. I think Suarez barely making it used up all that 36-point cushion he built up over the first 2 races. And they knew that race was going to be a struggle. I don't think they knew it was going to be that much of a struggle to where that car had absolutely zero pace. But he makes it through. On the other hand, and we're going to get to that in a moment. On the other hand, 4 drivers are out of this championship race now, and I expected 2 of them, Harrison Burton, Ty Gibbs, did not make it on to the next round. But Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, surprising to me. Truex just had a bad run at Darlington and Bristol and really sank him. And on the other hand, Keselowski was just vanished when the first round of the playoffs started. But Chris, 4 drivers are down. Who's your most surprising out?
Probably Truex, I'd say. Just with it being his final season, I kind of expected a deeper run. But he really did not have anything go his way. The opening 3 races. So it was actually a pretty rough opening round for a few guys who, even Larson coming into Bristol, he had 2 bad rounds to open. So it's just been kind of a wild playoffs to start with, which is what we want, to be honest. But it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I honestly think Brad Keselowski, just because it looked like that team was starting to go somewhere. You see Buescher pick up the win after not making the playoffs, and they are still building towards something. But I think Brad Keselowski is just well and truly washed, unfortunately. But I was just shocked that he was really not a factor in these playoffs. I won't ask you who your most unsurprising out was. I think both of us, it was Harrison Burton.
Yeah.
We pretty much knew he wasn't going to do anything. And he's off to AM Racing in Xfinity, probably a much better place for him, to be honest, as far as skill and talent level, unfortunately. But on the other hand, Mr. Alex Bowman shut some People up in round number 1 of these playoffs. And I swear to God, it's kind of like Daniel Ricciardo. Chris, we have heard so many rumors about your driver in 2025 at this point.
I know, and they came out of nowhere randomly one week too. It was wild. But yeah, Alex had a great opening round. Far surpassed my expectations. It was awesome, and we're coming into a round that I'm pretty confident about as well. Yeah, no, it's been nice. It was really fun to watch. Just how many points he was scoring, and unfortunately the points reset because he had some great stage points. But I'm excited. I'm cautious to get too excited though, but yeah, no, it's nice. He's definitely, shutting up the people that talked about him. There's a particular podcast that likes talking about him a lot. So hopefully he shut them up for a week.
My question is, why do people not like Alex Bowman? I just don't understand it. All he does is go out there, be consistent, and run to the best of his ability. He was the best. He was the best Hendrick car coming down the stretch and to start the playoffs before Larson went on the run that he did, or went on the run that he did in Bristol. And all people want to do is get him out of the seat for insert driver here. I think some people were talking about Corey LaJoie taking that seat at some point. I heard Justin Haley, him being loaned over to Spire for a switch with him and Haley next year. It's just so many dumb rumors that have been going around.
Yeah, very dumb rumors. Corey LaJoie is never going to get back into a Hendrick car again.
No, not after Gateway.
No, he will never. He got his one chance. Won't happen again. And Justin Haley's good. I'll give it to him. He definitely outperforms the equipment. But I think that if Bowman gets replaced, it's going to be by somebody younger.
Yeah.
But I don't see it happening next year, and maybe even not in 20, because his contract goes through 2026, I believe. So
as long as Ally wants him, he's going to be there.
And I was going to say, Ally really likes him. So, and if anybody doubts that, just go look at Andrea Brimmer's Twitter. She's the head of marketing for Ally, and she is a huge Alex Bowman person. So they're not switching. I guarantee you that. And now with FedEx losing, they are absolutely, without a doubt, the biggest sponsor in NASCAR.
Yeah, there's rumors that they're going to be cutting back even more next year. I mean, they've all but vanished off of Hamlin's car as it is.
They're pulling out completely. I read, and I didn't, do a 2 or 3 step verification, but I read that they're working on like pulling out completely by like 2028 or something like that.
FedEx, the company, is hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
So I completely, I get it. I mean, they removed their sponsorship from FedEx Field, which they have been sponsoring for 20 years. You see their commercials have kind of disappeared. They're not in a good way as a company.
No. Probably because the pandemic is like over and people are kind of going back to brick and mortars a little bit.
Yeah.
And honestly, with Amazon just doing their own shipping now, that was probably the bulk of FedEx's business to begin with.
Well, it also doesn't help that USPS is starting to pick up their Sunday deliveries.
Yeah.
So they're now doing Sunday deliveries of Amazon stuff. So that's really cutting into FedEx's budget. And unfortunately, it's affecting Denny Hamlin.
I always feel so bad when the mail person comes on Sunday. I feel like genuinely terrible.
I hope they're getting overtime for that. That's all I'm going to say.
I hope so too. But like I turned off weekend delivery on Amazon and stuff. Like I just feel so bad because like I live in a rural place. So the chances are that the person delivering the mail is probably driving like 15 minutes to get to my house out of the way. Mm-hmm. And so I just genuinely feel terrible that they got a half-hour round trip to deliver one package to me. So I turned it off. I couldn't live with the guilt.
Yeah, my areas, we're a little bit tighter down here, but yes, I really feel bad. Like the 1 or 2 times I've gotten packages on Sunday. I'm sorry. This could have waited till Monday. But
yep.
Yeah. Into the round of 12 though we go. Next set of races here in NASCAR as we run to Phoenix to decide a champion. What will definitely be a riveting finale and totally worth replacing Homestead Miami as the finale. Okay, I'm going to stop beating that dead horse. We're going into the next round of the playoffs. We're starting with Kansas coming up this weekend. We should not have any issues with rain. Knock on wood. I know our folks in Florida, Magic City scoreboard that just got started. We're thinking about y'all. They're getting pounded right now by Helene. And actually, Chris, we've got clouds from Helene.
Do you?
Over us. Yeah, this is a massive storm. I'm all the way up in Maryland just to say
to be honest with you, I didn't even know that there was a hurricane, like a big one, until about like 3 or 4 hours ago.
Yeah, if you look at a satellite image of just the clouds from this hurricane, it goes from Tampa all the way up here where I am.
Jeez.
Yeah, it is crucial.
I guess the ignorant bliss of living in upstate New York is that I don't have to ever pay attention to hurricanes.
Yeah, but y'all get those snowstorms that I hate.
I will live through every snowstorm ever. I love snowstorms, personally.
That makes one of us. So the next 3 races are Kansas, Talladega, and Charlotte. This is the chaos round of the playoffs, as I like to call it. And of course, the only person that's going to be happy going into the Yellowwood 500 on October 6th is the driver that won at Kansas the week prior. Because if you got to go into the Roval and the Talladega to win yourself a way into the playoffs, buddy, you're not going to have fun.
Sorry, someone posted the, which we'll get into, the Ricardo things, and they were posting all the different tributes that each team did, and Red Bull's was the worst out of all of them. So I did not hear a thing you said, Darryl, and I apologize.
You're all good. I was just saying the only driver that's going to be happy going into Talladega in 2 weeks is the driver that wins at Kansas because they don't have to worry about trying to win there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bowman's good at Kansas. That's why I'm holding my hopes that we get a win there. But yeah, Talladega is going to be a mess like always.
Yeah, Kansas is always fun, especially in this late summer, early fall race. We'll see what the temperature is going to be for that race here in a moment. Because when that track gets hot, it gets slick. The driver's struggling with this next-gen car. It's really throwing these drivers for a loop. We're going to see a lot of cautions, a lot of restarts. It's going to be a challenge, and it's really going to be one of those races that is going to be a palate cleanser after how Bristol went.
Yeah. I'm just trying to pull up the schedule here.
Yeah, so it's going to be 81 degrees with the humidity of 50% in Kansas on Sunday. So if you're going to that race, God bless you. That sounds like it's going to suck.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this will be a fun round, though. I think this will. I think just looking at the three that we got, I think this will be more exciting than the round of 16. So I'm excited for it.
It's always one of the better round. This round, especially since they've changed it up, has always been fun, and I'm sad that they're splitting it up for next season. Which I don't know who made that decision, but whatever. But here are your playoff standings going into the round of 12. Kyle Larson all the way down to Chase Briscoe. Chris, who do you think are going to be the next four out when we get to Carolina?
Not Alex Bowman. Let's see here. So we'll go Briscoe, Suarez, Cindric, and Briscoe, Suarez, Cindric. How did Joey Logano do last? Oh, he won.
Yeah, he won, but he has not looked strong.
I was going to say, but did he do anything? I don't think he did anything after that.
No.
You know what? I'm going to say Chase Elliott.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Elliott, Cindric, Suarez, Briscoe. That's my four.
Well, I'm definitely going to go with Briscoe and Suarez. I think they have struggled, and I think it's going to catch them in this round. I think my other two are Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney.
Yeah.
Blaney has absolutely not looked strong in this championship defense at all this year. He's had some spurts where you think, okay, now he's turning it on, but this first round was not fun for him. And I just think he's not going to have enough to get through to the round of 8.
I can see that. Like, I was kind of debating on Blaney over Elliott or not. So I'm kind of with you there. I could see it being either.
Yeah. I can't wait for all these picks to be wrong, but that's how we feel going into the round of 12. Kansas is always going to be a fun time. That race will be, of course, on the schedule on USA from Kansas Speedway at 3 p.m. Check it out. It's going to be some really good racing this weekend in the NASCAR world. Now, the Formula One World Championship is off, but we're getting ready for some virtual hydroplane racing with the Saturday Night Hydroplane League. Round 1 of the season is this weekend, September 27th and 28th. We'll have a tape-delayed broadcast of the Division 1 race later on in the week, as that is my anniversary week, so I will not be on the live call for this weekend. So make sure to check that out as we are getting ready to start Season 7 of the SNHL. But hey, we'll be right back. When we are back, we're going to talk Formula One, and swearing is apparently a capital offense now in Formula One. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Yo, what's going down? This is Spaced Out Sports with your host, J-Man, giving you all Houston sports straight from the source, brought to you IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. In this show, we're going to talk about everything Houston, through and through, and everything. We're going to talk about the surrounding areas. We're going to talk about local sports, everything in Texas in general, mainly Houston, but we're going to talk about everything in the sports world. I want to hear from y'all. Y'all definitely going to hear from me. We're going to go from anything all over, from football to MMA to everything. Let's have a good show. I'm looking forward to hearing from the city. Y'all make sure y'all just check me out every Wednesday right here at Spaced Out Sports, brought to you by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go.
And we're back here in the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Darryl and Chris here with you this evening. Going to get into Formula One. And Chris, apparently cursing is now a capital offense in Formula One. I'll let you take this one away. Hold on. Oh.
I'm good now. Sorry. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm the fan of a convicted convict in the eyes of the FIA. So it's absolutely ludicrous what happened. I think the fact that every driver on the grid has come out in support of Max, and this isn't the first time that they've complained about Max on the radio. And I agree with Max that no other sport has their athletes being recorded the full time unedited. And so it's not really fair for these drivers to have the same standards put on them. I curse a lot. I do it at work in front of my bosses. Nobody says anything. And I think as Americans, I think Americans are prude when it comes to what you hear on the TV, particularly when it comes to cursing. And I don't know this because I've never been to the Netherlands, but apparently on their TV, like, there is no censoring. Like, if someone drops an F-bomb, a 4-year-old hears that F-bomb. And so it's, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Like, get a life, people. That's kind of where I'm at.
Was this worse than the jewelry debacle last year?
Yes. Because you could have no matter how, like, I guess at the end of the day, you can argue for a safety standpoint. right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's ridiculous, and we all know it's ridiculous, a devil's advocate could say a necklace is a choking hazard. What happens? Blah 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 blah. Whatever happens right down the line of any piece of jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's no way to like devil's advocate this, in my opinion, at least.
No, they're dragging it at this point, and that the problem is that it shouldn't have gotten as big as it has, especially because other countries didn't even know this was a problem. They would just bleep it out. Like, maybe we need to bleep the swear words, but it's getting ridiculous now.
Put the drivers. The drivers are already on a delay.
Yeah,
they're already on a delay. So just bleep it. Just bleep it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're just trying to make drama and get in Max's head to a degree.
It's not even it's not even good drama though.
I know it's terrible, but like I'm an unwilling participant in my Twitter feed at this point. Like the last couple 2 months, my Twitter feed is not what I enjoy looking at. So I really haven't been spending a ton of time on Twitter because I'm getting a lot of this British media bias junk. And I mean, it's kind of true, but I'm not like a conspiracy person or whatever, but sometimes you just see something and you're like, the British bias is definitely there. And that's how I feel about with this.
Well, I don't even know there's a British bias because even the British were like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anybody that has been pro this. It's dumb.
No, but it's clearly getting it's clearly a distraction, right?
Oh, it's definitely a distraction.
It's just a distraction, and it's going to make for a better narrative. You can kind of spin it as it's gonna throw Max off a little bit, get him upset. The dude already hates Max already hates Formula One. He doesn't like being here, and he will tell you that to your face. And it just seems like they're pushing him to retire faster than he already wants to. And it's just
I think
I'd be careful doing that.
I think he's gone after this contract. I think he's done.
Oh, he's already basically, I mean, he talks about it all the time, but
yeah. The amount he talks about retirement, I know people are talking about, he's going to reunite with Aston Martin. No, he's going home.
Yeah.
He's going to go.
Yeah. Because he already said, you win a race, you win a championship, and it's just rinse and repeat after that. He doesn't seem interested. He just wants to go sim racing, do whatever. But he is just over Formula One, and I don't expect him to sign another contract.
Yeah, he's going to go home, be a good stepdad, and play on his simulator. That's what he's going to go do. And maybe drive GT3 cars with his buds. That's what he's going to go do.
Yeah, but we'll see what Michael has to say about it, because surprise,
hey!
Hello,
What's up,
everyone.
bud?
Sorry I'm late again, but just to reiterate what you guys are saying, I think he hates more so of the politics of Formula One. I don't think he hates the actual, the racing part. I think he just legit hates the politics, the I want to say the PR of it all. I think he's just really tired of that. And I think that's a big reason, a lot of people might actually tend to turn away from F1, in my opinion, because it's a lot more behind the scenes stuff, more so than actual racing.
I think he's in line with everybody on that one, because the politics in Formula One has gotten ridiculous.
I mean, we care more about what's happening off the track than we do on the track.
Yeah.
I think 90%, not 90%, but a good half of what we talk about doesn't even happen on track. It happens off the track.
Yeah, Formula One is basically politics with some motorsports sprinkled in at this point, and I feel bad for him.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
I mean, I think at one point he was probably genuinely happy to be here. Now he just wants out.
Yeah, and he's close to getting out.
2028.
It's like, I've won my championships. I'm out.
Yep. 2028, he's going to be chilling at home, and I think he's going to be happy because this is just absolutely
And I'm guessing
ridiculous.
you guys were talking about the whole he has to do community service for cursing thing.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do it.
I hope he doesn't.
All right, I guess we're all in agreement that penalty is ridiculous, right?
Oh, it's absolutely
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't think these guys are racing drivers. I think they have the right to get upset.
Let me tell you, drop a NASCAR radio on these guys, on the FIA folks, and let them listen to the race this weekend in Kansas. They will not care about cursing anymore. That's all I'm going to say.
Deal with NASCAR drivers in the press. Good luck.
Yep.
Try surviving Kyle Busch when he's mad. Good luck.
Well, let's get into what happened on track with a little excitement there was. But Lando finally gets the pole, finally leads every lap, wins the race. Verstappen a distant second, but there seems to be improvement with that car. We'll see what happens.
Which is strange because this was the race where last year they fumbled that one time. And now this race they actually get it right. I don't know. That car might be a diva. It might be another Mercedes car, Darryl.
It definitely is showing diva tendencies. Chris, this might be enough if they have figured it out to salvage this championship.
Yeah. You and I were talking before the show started, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
About what we thought would happen between the top two. And, Red Bull says that they figured the car out. And then at Singapore, we see Lando make two errors without any pressure. Max was, double-digit seconds behind, and Lando makes two mistakes that could have both cost him the race. One of which damaged the car, not enough to, affect anything that we know of.
Right.
But you saw two errors that weren't pressured at all. So that's got to be concerning for McLaren and for Lando both. And meanwhile, if you're looking from the Red Bull side of things, they finished second comfortably. Max didn't have any pressure from behind. And he wasn't pressuring Norris by any means. But the fact that he finished second, again, without any pressure, is a win for the Red Bull camp as well. And so we talk about that. If Max finishes second to Lando's first the rest of the season, then he still wins. And that's what Red Bull needed to see. I think that they have turned the car around to some degree. We'll see, what the rest of the season looks like. But if I'm Red Bull, I'm looking and I'm, kind of optimistic about this.
Optimistic is good.
Definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
So on the other side of things, unfortunately, the career of Daniel Ricciardo is pretty much over unceremoniously after the Singapore Grand Prix. Formula One on Facebook had this post. with Lando's comments. You can see on the screen, I love this sport my whole life. It's wild and wonderful and been a journey. To the teams and individuals that have played their part, thank you. To the fans who love the sport sometimes more than me, thank you. It'll always have its highs and lows, but it's been fun. And truth be told, I wouldn't change it until the next adventure. So some kind parting words for Daniel Ricciardo. How do we look back at his career? Because it started with so much promise that never really panned out when you look at it.
That and so many other F1 drivers start off with promise and then never really pan out. I guess since I was a big Ricardo fan back then, I guess I'll say my 2 cents. He had promise, a lot of good promise. It was a mixture of just, I want to say, right driver, very wrong time. You had you had Renault, and you had Renault's reliability, something that we've all grown accustomed to right now. You had the dominance of Mercedes, and we couldn't really get we couldn't really get on par with Mercedes. No one really could. And then you had Ricciardo trying to do his best, but Renault's engine's failing. And then we had somebody called Max Verstappen. And then he wins his first race. And honestly, I don't think he could have done any better. Maybe if he would have stayed, maybe he could have challenged Max some more. But it was obvious at the time who Red Bull was favoring more. He tried to make something happen at Renault, couldn't do that. Tried to make something happen at McLaren, couldn't agree with the car, and now we're here. Now, and I just feel like his career is just, like I said, right driver, wrong place.
That's a pretty good summation of his career, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you, Michael, on every point that you made. It was, his career, everybody's career inevitably comes to an end, right?
Yeah.
And he might not be Hall of Fame on the track, but he is first ballot Hall of Fame off the track.
Right.
Yes.
You see everyone in the media, he was universally loved for a reason. And it's because he gave, there was never a point where he didn't give his all. There was never a point where he wasn't willing to do an interview. He had, he has an infectious smile and infectious personality. And when it comes to off the track, there was no one better in Formula One. He's going to be sorely missed by everyone on the grid. And it was just because of the type of person that he was and I shouldn't say was, but,
right.
He's leaving a big void in the paddock. And I hope to see him doing something. I'd love to see him come run at like Xfinity or something, track. Put him in Project 91 car. He loves NASCAR. I'd love to see him come over here and run Xfinity for a season or something. But wherever he goes, whatever he does, all the best to him.
Right. And I think I agree with you there, Chris. I think there are plenty of opportunities for him here in America, whether it be in IndyCar or NASCAR or IMSA. There are pretty good opportunities for him here. I will say that.
Well, he said IndyCar still scares him, but I would love to see him at the Rolex 24 next year.
Why does IndyCar scare him?
Ovals.
The ovals.
Oh, yeah.
You hear that a lot. Guys talk about the ovals. But I don't know. Maybe he chooses not to race at all and he just retires and enjoys life. whatever he does, I'm happy for him.
Yes. While we're sitting here just scrolling the social medias, a random tropical storm has formed in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and is heading towards France.
Towards France?
Yes. It'll be like a tropical low by the time it gets there. It's not really going to do anything, but that is a thing that is happening.
Oh, I guess it was heading there to destroy the Alpine factory.
I guess. Maybe they're comeuppance for
Actually, no.
trying to
The
retire
Alpine
that.
factory isn't in France. It's in Great Britain, but...
Well, it's actually, no, that's not France. That's Spain. I'm an idiot. It's on its way to Spain and Portugal.
So it's going to destroy Madrid.
Yep. Their comeuppance for trying to start the Super League in soccer. Anyway, I would love to see Daniel Ricciardo come to NASCAR or sports car racing.
Or V8 supercars. Just something.
If he went back to race supercars, went back to Australia and race supercars, that would be a huge coup. And the Toyota project's coming up in 2026. So,
I just think Formula One had just moved away from his driving style, right? And I feel like if he went somewhere else, he would make it somewhere else that would fit his driving style. He can make some noise potentially.
Yep. Which, by the way, now that I mentioned supercars, we didn't get to it last week, but they are coming. Toyota is coming back to supercars, the championship in 2026. And I'll give you two guesses on which team's going to run it. First hint is they're trying to get into Formula One. I mean, they were trying to get into Formula One, but got denied earlier this year.
Porsche? Oh, no. All right,
really, guys?
What is it?
Andretti, y'all.
Andretti. Oh.
I was reading Cliff Daniels' tweet, so I didn't even hear what you were saying.
I'm sorry, Darryl. I'm so used to them trying to get into Formula One. I didn't think they would try to get in any other place.
Yeah, the Walkinshaw Andretti United squad in Australia is going to be running the Toyota Supra in supercars in 2026 as supercars.
Really trying to get Andretti started to become Mr. Worldwide all of a sudden.
He's not going to stop until he has a car in absolutely everything.
Good. He's never
I'm not
stopping
complaining
that because he'll never be in Formula One.
Sadly.
Unless some massive dramatic change happens.
Yep. So before we get out of here, we do have Ricciardo leaving. Liam Lawson more than likely is going to take that seat.
Thank God you didn't say Liam Neeson.
At a RB, whatever they want to call themselves. How do we think Liam Lawson's going to do?
He's going to perform like Calapinto, but better.
Mm-hmm.
Which Calapinto really surprised me.
Well, he definitely showed that Logan Sargent was the problem in that car.
Yeah, and it really makes me think, is F2 not what it's supposed to be? Because I feel like you can just pluck, I'm not going to say anybody, but I feel like you can just take your academy driver, plop him in an F1 seat, and he would be pretty fast.
Unfortunately, F2 has fallen into the trap of it's more about who has the most money to race up there and not who's the most talented.
Because I've noticed a trend. Behrman came into Formula One this year.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately pretty freaking fast, right?
Yep.
Colapinto comes in immediately fast. So I'm just thinking, and he's not I don't think he's in the running for the championship in F2 right now. I think Behrman's fighting for it.
I have to look because Behrman was struggling after his little F1 stint.
But I'm just like, is F2 not where we harbor talent anymore? Are we just plucking people straight out of there? It's like, okay, let's do a couple of races there, and then okay, we're gonna put you on the F1 season. Because I'm starting to feel like teams don't care about F2 anymore.
Definitely not. Colapinto was 7th in the championship, but he's been plucked out. Antonelli, who's going to run Mercedes, is 6th in the championship. And Ollie Behrman's just been having an awful season, despite the start with Ferrari. He's 15th right now. And meanwhile, Bortoleto, 169.5 points, not going to be an F1 next year.
Yeah.
He's definitely got to be feeling some sort of slighted.
Yeah, F2 might be useless.
That's what it looks like.
Did Herta ever get enough points?
Not yet. Next year, he should get the points.
Can Herta just go straight to F1? Does he have to do F2?
No, but he's got to get the super license points.
Okay.
Which I think if he just does a free practice 1, he can get the points.
He's the closest who doesn't have it, right?
Yes.
So he just needs to do a free practice?
Because I know that there's been talk about Larson being close too.
Oh yes, let's put the world's greatest racing driver in F1.
Or should be close if there was any decency in the world.
Then again, his Bristol performance was pretty good, so I won't deny that.
Oh no, he does have it.
Herta
has a super license now.
Herta the F1. Let's go.
I was gonna say, I thought that when he won the oval, that was the last thing he needed.
Would have been useful a couple of years ago.
Now, how does he get to F1? That's my main question.
I don't know. His one shot was going to be with Red Bull, and now that's gone. I don't know how he gets in now. Other than Andretti, if they stop messing around with that. But Formula One's got to fix this broken behind super license system because it's not working.
We're just keeping the Americans out for the most part.
Well, if that's what they want to do, then mission accomplished. I mean, if that's what they want to do, then the system's working just fine. But hey, we're going to get ready to get out of here for this episode of The Extra Mile. Thank you all so much for listening. Remember, if you want to catch any episode of any iSports Radio show, it can be found wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, on YouTube at IE Sports Radio. That'll do it for this edition of The Extra Mile. For Michael and Chris, I'm Darryl. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.